All right, this is our final point discussing cartographic design principles, and it's one of the most important, good composition. The way that you lay out the elements of your map and arrange them is critically important. And again, you're going to see a lot of these sort of unhappy face, happy face, right? And you should just have a sense about some important points like the visual center. And this is coming from design and this type of work, but the basic idea is that when you look at some kind of an object, an art, the visual center is slightly above the actual center, and things in the center that intersect with this visual center are important things, or they're interpreted to be important things. And so you want to position the pieces of your map so that the most important things are near this visual center. And there may be other elements that are important but less important than what this critical thing is. In addition, you want your map to be balanced, right? If everything's on one side, it's going to feel like it's leaning over. It's not going to feel very comfortable, very professional. There are choices with symmetry. If you make everything symmetrical, it'll feel very natural, but it might actually look a little bit sort of grade schoolish. If things are a little bit asymmetric, that's not necessarily bad if it was done in a thoughtful way. And this example on the right, it may make it feel a little bit more modern. Sight lines are invisible lines that sort of help everything line up wherever they may be. And if you've got a million different sight lines because things are not really lined up properly, it's not going to be that helpful. And this bottom one is also just talking about symmetry versus asymmetry. Asymmetrical choices are not necessarily bad as long as you put a little bit of thought into it. This is another slide just talking a little bit more about map color. And so we've got these three main components of color. There's the hue, which is what in common language, what is the color? Is it purple, yellow, orange, and so on? The value, is it dark or light? And the intensity, how vivid is it, or how washed out is it? That's sort of the intensity. And so these variations of map color can be used in different ways to make your map more effective. Color also has all sorts of different symbolic color connotations, right? So here in Hawaii, red and yellow, these are very important and powerful colors. But in other parts of the world, in Russia, for example, red signifies communism, right? It signifies purity in India. So colors have very important cultural attachments with them. And so we can see a list on the left here for sort of generic Western cultural color connotations, and then other cultural connotations on the right. So for example, brown in the West often means, landforms, contours. It means mourning in India. It means Nazis in some cases, and a ceremonial for Australian Aboriginals. So depending on who your audience is, color is always important, but you just need to have some sense that it might mean different things to different people. And different colors will interact with each other. The appearance of any color on a map depends on what the surrounding colors are also doing. This is getting to some sort of upper level vision theory, but if we look at these two panels here with the yellow and the green, the dot inside actually might look for most people a little bit different in one panel than the other, but it's actually the same exact color. It has to do with the surrounding color and what that is doing to it. For example, this is showing there's a pink and a green, and then there's a dot in the middle. The dot in the middle makes the two small squares below look similar, but they're not exactly similar. They're different. But because it's what the field is in the background, that's going to affect it. This is an example of an absolutely terrible map. So this map was pulled off of the web, and And I don't really know what this map is about. It's something about apples, right? It's something about apples. It's awful for all sorts of different reasons. The index is any apple. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. What does it mean if your any apple index is from 111 to 125? I don't know. And the color choices which were done here are also sort of problematic. There's another thing associated with this map which we haven't talked about so far, and that's the lack of a projection. The way that this is making America look, it looks kind of flat and not very elegant. And we'll talk a lot more about map projections later, and realistic map projections and what they do, and that's a subject for another time. But with this data is unprojected, it looks very amateurish. The color choice, red, green, about 8% of males are colorblind in the United States, about 3% of females. If red and green are showing important differences on your map and a good percentage of your audience cannot see those differences, this is a problem. Okay, so there's all sorts of colors that you can use, reds and blues or greens and blues or whatever the case may be. So red, green, although it's very, very popular that you see this, it's actually a problem for colorblind viewers, and it's something that you should be aware of for those folks with that disability. I am sure that you could imagine all sorts of other issues with this map. I certainly can. This is a terrible map. I hope that I will not see maps like this from you guys. I'm sure I will. This is a beautiful map. This map was created by an undergraduate and submitted for a competition and won a 2012 North American Cartographic Information Society Student Poster Competition winner. It's from Humboldt Bay. This person put a lot of time and energy into this map. This is just the title and legend, and you could look at this for 20 minutes and just sort of appreciate what was done to make this. The choice of the font, it's just beautiful. The color decisions is a very, very nice looking map, and you can just tell this map should be hung up in a museum someplace. It's very, very nice. This is a close-up, and we can see showing Eel Canyon off the coast there, and the interactions between the contour lines and the lettering, the shading, the decision about how fine to use the contour lines. This may seem sort of arcane or sort of little itsy bitsy details to many of you, but if you really get into this and think about these maps as works of art, all these little design decisions come together to make a very powerful and impressive document. And that is much more than just a map. It's something else. What you guys are looking at right here is going to be part of your first exercise where you guys are going to actually critique this map. And so that is going to be the end of this video lecture talking about cartographic design principles and composition. And so I look forward to seeing what you guys can do. Exercise number 1 will be posted on La Lima.